thought our guys really fought. I do. I think they really had a good mindset coming in, and thought Kentucky played really well today. And first half, we did what we wanted to do by trying to get their front line in some foul trouble. We just couldn't stop them in late game situations when, I thought defended them pretty well, but when they put their head down and started driving, they made some tough shots at the rim, but they're capable of doing that. And we knew that would be something that we'd have a hard time dealing with. And then we get behind a little bit. We start hurrying up, and we had some looks at it we'd like to make, but they didn't go down, and it can get away from you quickly. But I thought our guys fought. I really do, and I appreciate their effort.
Rick, I'm wondering, Johnny Juzang kind of came out of nowhere for us. I'm wondering how prominent he was in the game planning, and how impactful do you think he was?
Well, he was. He did it. We don't leave any of them out of the game plan because we felt like we would get him in foul trouble. We felt like we'd have to go to some of those players, and we fell asleep. We fouled him one time. Devontae fouled him one time when he had great defensive position and gave him 2 there. Then we went to sleep on the backside, gave him a 3 there, and at right at the end, I think, in the first half. But I thought John's guys came in, and I mean, they're good players, and they're capable of making those plays. But the first half, we felt like we gave them 2 of those 3s where we fell asleep on the backside. We gave them a lob where we weren't alert as we needed to be, and then a couple foul shots. But again, they're going to score points. And in the second half, we had some great looks at the basket, and at some point in time, you got to hope they can go in. But again, our guys fought. But no, none of their guys surprised us with what because we knew we could get to their bench. We talked about what those guys were capable of doing, and they did what they do.
Rick, you ended up going to Drew Pember early on. Was that a product of Urosh's struggles?
Yeah, again, we've told those guys they work in practice. All these guys are young, and our job is to develop these guys. I mean, it's a part of it when you have a young team, when we've lost what we've lost, and we've got we're still trying to build a program here that we want. And so those young guys are, whether they're ready for these type games, you got to put them out there some and see what they can do. And I was really proud of Olivier, actually, in the second half. He didn't play the first half. I thought he came in and really did some things that he's going to definitely get a shot at it more because, he had a shot early, didn't do it. He's had to set a little bit, and he's responded by working harder, doing things in practice. And Urosh has got to be more physical. I mean, a guy that size, he can't be a finesse player. He doesn't have to be a finesse player. And but he's a freshman. He's learning this, and the play of the second half should have been a dunk. I mean, if he were playing at the speed he needed to, that should have been an easy basket for us as opposed to them getting a block right there.
Coach, you talked on Thursday about the need to get it inside, not to settle for threes. Taking 26 today, was that just a reflection of the score late in the game?
Yeah, those threes came late. We did that, but when you get behind and they start collapsing, start switching, we had great looks at it. I'm telling you. I mean, we had some looks at it that I would have been upset if people had them against us. I would have, but the fact is, you got to make some at some point in time. But some of that's when you're behind, you're catching up. You got to start shooting some of them. But we're going to be a team that when we're playing our best, we're going to be somewhere between, I think 16 and 20. It would be a good balance for us. And again, some of those at the end, we shot and played quicker. But when you're down, you have to do that.
Rick, because of Kentucky's great quickness in the backcourt and ability to get to the basket, do you miss Lamani Turner more in a game like this than ever?
No doubt. There's no doubt. I mean, you miss that kind of defensive presence. I mean, when you go back and look at tape like we do from a year ago and what they do now, that's the biggest thing we don't have with our team right now is that on-ball defensive pressure that we want to put. But we'll get better. We've recruited some of that, but that's part of it. I mean, with what we've gone through this year, and we've had to adjust our defense where we're not nearly as as good on the ball as we'd like to be. But we'll keep getting better, and we have to be quite frank.
With Josiah, is that still a day-to-day thing?
Yeah, it's day-to-day. He hasn't been healthy all year, and he wants to play, but we're not doing him any good or us any good if he can't give it to us the way we need him to. And he's tried, he really has, but he just day to day right now.
Yeah, Rick, with all that's on those top four you've got and all the minutes they're playing, do you think there's any translation to the end of games in terms of maybe missing some shots they'd normally make or even not getting some stops?
No, I don't, because you know what? We've got way back in practice, and Bowden's played a lot of minutes since he's been here. Santi no doubt he got a little tired, but in games like this, we need those guys. I mean, you look at us. I mean, you look at them. They played 1, 2, 3, basically 4 guys, 30-plus minutes, you know, and their guards were out there a lot. I mean, and we tried, again, to get them as much rest as we can, but when you're in the position we are, it's such a fine line there that you can't let the game get away from you. Like, we wanted to sit him early in the first half. That lead could have gone to 16 real quick, and that's the time like, if you go back to a couple games where we've been able to rest some of our guys, but we had to get them back in the game and try to get it down under 10 at halftime, and so that took away a little bit that what you're talking about. But at the end, it could be that. It could be a lot of things, but Kentucky, they did what they do. They when they get a lead, they can grind you and get you in those long possessions, and then they got the ability with those guards to go create some offense and make some tough shots.
Rick, when you defensively, when the other team just has some guards that you just really have a hard time keeping in front of you, what kind of options do you have defensively to counter something like that? Because it looked like there were times where y'all defended almost exactly like you want to and just couldn't stay in front of a guy.
I don't know if we have options, if you're asking me that right now. You know, we obviously we rely heavily on our scout report. We rely heavily on help defense. But when you give up straight line drives to the basket, I'm not sure there isn't anything you can do. And other than we've got to get better with it. There's no doubt we have to do that. And you know, we had a couple straight line drives too where we missed some shots at the rim, and they made some really tough layups there. They really did, because we normally do a decent job. We blocked some of them. Even again, had some nice blocks around the rim. He can't get to all of them, but first of all, those guys are very talented, and they're really good at doing that. And they don't just do it to us; they do it to a lot of people.
What did you see from Urosh in practice before he got eligible, and why is that not translated? Or
Good question, and I don't think yet he even has a clue how he has to play this game. You know, I think he's a typical player that wants to. I mean, he's never been a player that would be classified as physical, even though Kyle Alexander wasn't either. We need him to understand how we need him to play, and it's going to take him some time, but he's a gifted player. He's but like today, got going in the zone. They went zone for a little bit because of foul trouble, and we had actually talked about that with our team, saying that don't be surprised if they have to go zone, and then he tried to make some kind of play and threw it away. Those were the plays that hurt, where he doesn't need to do anything clever, anything crafty. He just needs to do what we teach him to do, and he'll be fine.
Kentucky had 5 guys over here, Coach, left scoring double figures. Just when they have that many options and you have so many guys playing 30-plus minutes, just how hard are they to guard in the second half?
Very hard. They're a very hard team to guard. They really are. And you know, their offense, they know what they're looking for. They do a good job of trying to spread it around. And so anytime you play against a team that has the balance that they have, and I think they're playing really well too. I said that coming in. I think right now they're trending in the way that John wants his teams to go right now. They're very solid defensively, and you know, I thought, you talk about fatigue, I thought both teams that had those guys that played a lot of minutes got tired. I could see them walking to the bench, and as our guys, but that they have the balance where they've got more guys that can drive the ball than we do, and they do a good job of attacking you that way.
Rick, it seems like night in, night out, aside from Fulkerson and Pons, you don't really know what you're going to get out of the rest of the players on this roster. Is there a fix to that? Like, how hard is that for you to kind of figure things out as far as, you know, trying to go forward this season?
And you're right, it's hard. It's really hard to not know them from night to night, but some of that's youth. It is. And, again, I don't know if we could – I mean, Santiago's a phenomenal story. when you think about what that kid has done, I mean, it's amazing. It really is for him to. I mean, we got two guys we're playing with that weren't even on our eligible roster when the season started. That they're trying to work in there, but what he has done is it's really phenomenal. I mean, you think about it, he's was not ever in the kind of shape you'd expect a guy that had gone through a spring and a summer and a fall, but for him to continue to work when you're fatigued to try to get yourself in shape, and he's a guy that. You go back and look. I didn't see how many assists tonight did he have? Where is he? What he had 3 and he had 3 turnovers. Is that right? Is that right? So he was 2 and 3. So he's even where he started out. I mean, we had the stat the other day. He was like until tonight he was like 28 assists and 8 or 9 turnovers, and that's an amazing turnaround for him to do that. But he's a guy that is figuring it out. And, you know, obviously we'd like to have Josiah out there. I mean, he helps us in a game like this because of rebounding, if nothing else. But so it's difficult. But the good thing about it is we're getting to develop some of these guys, and we've got to continue to do that while we still try to win games. And we're going to keep doing it because I think that this group of guys still has a lot left in them, and we can get a lot better.
Coach, back here in the middle, you talked earlier this week about how February is the month where you have opportunities and teams kind of separate themselves. Is that something you all have talked about as a team or as coaches, you know, what it's going to take with what you have left, big picture-wise, to maybe get back to the tournament?
We always talk about the big picture. We do, and but we also talk about how we start talking about the big picture in November and how important those games are. And our line has always been, if you don't think those games are important, wait till March. But we also understand that this is the month where, you know, you can, and we play whatever games we got left. They're all top 50 teams, so they're great opportunities for us to do some things coming down the stretch. It won't be easy, but I don't think anybody thinks that we're going to be an easy out. I don't think that at all. But I think, and I do know this, our guys think that we can win every time we walk on the floor. There's no doubt they thought that we could win this game today. And so, but we do look at the big picture, and we're like a lot of people bunched up right there, and we'll see if we can get some here coming down the stretch. All right, thank you guys.